light bright. I thought I would go live this morning instead of tonight because where I'm going probably won't have a good enough signal. Oh, okay, Big Rich. What is going on, everybody? I've been trying to do more recorded videos because people seem to like that. Scott, what's up? Russ Maynard, how's it going? Watching me drinking coffee from the kitchen table. Yeah, that was me last Saturday. Speaking of coffee, got a pretty good cup here. I'm at the Joplin Petro. Big Rig CEO, how's it going? Everybody was watching my product review. Good. I'm in Joplin. Got the truck out of the shop yesterday. What brand of tires did you end up getting there, Scott? Heath Close, what's up? Nothing witty, I just started like 3 seconds ago. Bristol, Tennessee, it's raining. Speaking of Bella Flora, I passed by them yesterday, hollering on the radio, but no one answered. All these times I've been going up and down I-49, I never realized that their yard was right there. But went and got some breakfast, got my coffee, and see about washing the truck, but I think I'll wait until closer to GATS. Did you see the Freight Waves article I posted on the Big Rich Facebook page? Which one, Rich? You've been posting like crazy. I had 2 breakfast burritos from Blippi's. Santa Beard, Alex Express, what's up? Yeah, I was watching my, I proof watched my videos. I was watching the one I did about the phone calls. I'm like, dang, my beard's getting long. Better than a Kit Kat. Better than a Cinnabon with Dr. Pepper. Man, that's a massive amount of sugar. Dayton's, but it was in the Peterbilt shop in Baton Rouge for 2 days due to DEF system issues. Oh, okay. I hope you got that lined out. Oh, about predictions for the freight peak this season? Are they predicting good? I didn't see that one, Rich. Are they predicting good or bad? Or same? I don't judge you, Big Rich. But, sorry, I'm filling the air here. I've got it on low. You're down 35 pounds. That's a good deal, next gen. You uploaded yesterday and got over 1,000 views. I'm blown away. Man, I've only got a few videos that got 1,000 views. I usually got to put Snyder or Landstar or CB Radio or Cooking in the title to get that. $1.80 LA to Dallas, currently predicting it could get up to $3 at the peak. Oh, okay. I'm gonna stand by my original mention that September 1st, man, it's gonna hit. Last year, okay, so everybody's been talking about how the rates are higher this time last year, right? They're higher now than they were, right? And it was right around the truck show that first hurricane approached Houston. It was right at the end of that truck show because we were all trying to get the heck out of Dodge because they predicted a lot of the weather was going to come up at least as north as like the southern tip of Dallas. And that was when the rates started to get higher and higher and higher. Like, the rates were lower than they were now, but then they slowly climbed up. Now, the offset is that fuel is higher now than it was last year. But fuel is, like, I only paid $2.80 a gallon yesterday at the Petro there in Kingdom City. So, but so I predict that, you know, if it's not the beginning of September, it'll be mid-September, and we'll start seeing the good rates again. Not that the ones that we have are really bad now. I'll tell you a story, man. I picked up a load yesterday, and I was parked next to a driver that was having a bad day. He works for a company that I won't say, but it's another self-dispatch company very similar to Like Trucking. And I happen to know the owner pretty good. So I went to go say hi, and he was not having it, man. He was just like, you know, he was sitting there, and I knocked on the door, and he's like pointing like I don't know where the shipping office was. And I'm like, no. And I asked him to roll his window down, and he's like, throws his arms up, starts yelling. And then he rolls his window down, and I told him, I was like, hey man, you know, I know your owner, I'm friends with him, and you know, just want to say hi, you know, that kind of thing, right? And he was like, I apologize, man, I've had a really crappy day, you know, and all this. And he was stressed out, and later on, you know, I was told later that he's probably stressing on the rates, which, you know, I know his situation somewhat because of the truck he was driving, but he's got quite a bit of expenses going on. And when your expenses are pretty high, you know, yeah, the lower rates will stress you out, especially if he came in when the rates were peaking, you know, last fall. They're predicting the high at November 16th to the 23rd. Yep, just in time for your birthday. Yeah, he was, you know, he told the person that I was talking to that, hey, you know, apologize to that guy for me, you know, I just, it wasn't anything he did, I was just in a bad mood. So, I'm not stressing on the rates. Let's see if I can't get this out of the sun. I'm looking forward to rates coming up, but you know, when I looked at my average mile rate per mile at Schneider and what I'm making now, it's still considerably more. I think once I got over the challenge of just running a little bit more miles, you know, because for a while I wasn't running as many miles as I did at Schneider, so the money was about the same. But I think that once I got over that challenge, you know, like I said, July was my biggest month. August is not, because I'm taking too much time off. Separate the weak from the smart. Right. It's you always got to have a plan B. You always got to, okay, what do I do if rates go down to $1 a mile? What do I do? Okay. How can I reduce my costs or increase my revenue or create consistency? Those are the three things you want to do. And when I was at Landstar and rates were hitting rock bottom, I figured out, okay, well, if I do hazmat loads that are light, you know, with hardly, you know, like if you haul like 20 barrels of a very dangerous chemical, there's a lot more risk to that load than, say, empty plastic totes. They're still placarded, but one's light, easy, don't have to worry about spillage. And the other one, you got to secure, you got to make all these precautions. And, you know, so I tended to go for the lighter ones. And, excuse me, man. And that was my survival mode. Then once I had my cabs class, they gave us strategies on how to work, you know. And I was reading a post from a Landstar driver and how they got mentors now that you can pay, and they'll teach you how to utilize the low board and all that stuff, which is good. And if you get on YouTube, there's a few Schneider guys that are doing that as well. Jeff still has really good videos about the Schneider program. You know, my videos never really talked about the program per se, as far as like different strategies. I think I might have did a video about how I look the low board, but the way I run is different because my expenses are low. So Big Rig CEO, he's a Schneider IC, and he's averaging $2 a mile this week. So, you know, the Schneider rates are actually pretty good right now. He was telling, you know, he and I talked for a long time, and he's killing it over there with the Schneider finance truck, I might add. So, you know, of course, I'm seeing rates coming up here, the spot market. So we're good, man, we're good. Wiggle Wagon Pat, did you like the review, sir? Let's see, my buddy just went through there. Quick Trip is under construction, Jonathan. Lighter loads are rare, it seems, nowadays. Yeah, you know, I know CPAP talks about not even looking at loads under 35,000 or 30,000. And I set mine at 39,000. But when I see a low number, I'll take that filter off. And sometimes that doubles the load count. So, you know, when you do a heavy load, you got to be strategic about it. It's either got to pay really well, or, you know, if you're in Illinois, Ohio, Indiana, mainly Illinois, Indiana, Boot Hill, Missouri, or if you're staying along the interstate, you know, west of Pennsylvania, you know, having a heavy load is not that bad. I pulled a 42,000 pound load from Kansas City to Fulton, Missouri, and I averaged 8.2 miles a gallon because I kept my foot out of it. And there's a few hills through there. So, you know, you just have to be strategic. There's nothing wrong with doing heavy loads. The problem that I have with heavy loads is not really the weight or the fuel. It's more of, if they don't load it correctly, then that's a time waster. That's the issue I have. Now, my Peterbilt, I had issues with that truck. So a heavy load in the summertime, that was a bad idea because my truck tended to overheat pretty easily. So I tended to avoid them in the summertime. The wintertime, I was a little bit more willing to do heavy loads. But for the most part, if I'm in Illinois, Indiana, doesn't matter what the weight of the load is. So I ended up taking that filter off most of the time, just to see what's out there. Hauled the load 34 to get home from Warrenton, Missouri after hauling max weight 34. Felt like, yeah. Let's see. I'm still under 6 months, still averaging above the national average. You have to be smart and do your research before you call the brokers. I agree with that, Scott. Yes, sir, you'd probably be my next headset. Cool. I like it, man. I like it. And I believe Big Rig CEO, he's going to touch on that subject about fuel sometime in the near future. And Jeff has done videos about fuel too. Because, you know, let's face it, there's a lot of Schneider ICs, owner-operators, that used to fly past me And they kind of give me a weird look because they thought I was a company Schneider driver that they're flying past, but no, they see the green truck. I'm like, well, no, that's an owner op. Why is it going so slow? Then when I was at Landstar, I had drivers literally ask me on the CB if I was okay, because I'm sitting there cruising at 61, 62, you know, and I'm like, there's one guy that got on to me so bad. I was like, look, dude, unless you're writing my paycheck, paying my truck payment, or making my fuel payment, why does it matter? I'm not in the left lane. I'm not in your way. You know how I run is none of your concern. Like, oh, I don't know, just saying. You know, it was a stupid conversation. You know, and then these people get on the CB radio and they say stupid stuff, and then they wonder why no one, you know, runs with the radio on. You know, you hear it all the time. You get a guy, you know, you're driving down the interstate and you hear someone, hey, westbound, scale open, you know, and then there's no answer. You know, because, you know, I'm heading the same direction, so I'm curious about it myself, but it's not a big deal. And you're like, oh, I guess no one runs with the radio on because you're an idiot, all right, you know, and then like somebody will pass them, then it's like, oh, look at that idiot with the blue truck, blah, you know, and it's like, you know, like everybody gripes about Swift drivers not running with CB radios. Well, do you blame them? You know, they're you know, they know that they're ridiculed a lot, so why turn on the CB radio if you're just going to get more ridicule? Why turn on the CB radio if you're just going to get made fun of? So all the negativity and all the bad talking on the CB radio, the same guys that created the problem that no one used in the radio, they're the ones that created that. That doesn't even make sense. We only have ourselves to blame, I guess, is the better term, because CB went from a means of communication between drivers and sometimes shippers and receivers to, hey, let's bitch about that guy and gripe about that guy or make fun of that guy, you know. And you always hear, oh, it's a stupid foreigner, it doesn't have his radio on. Well, do you blame him? You know? So anyways, that's my rant's over. But yeah, I don't even remember what I was talking about. But yeah, fuel. I try to stay around 63, and that puts me at like 1,300 RPMs. And that seems to be the sweet spot for this truck. Everybody's truck is different. Yeah, I just described the internet too. Yeah, nothing witty. It's funny because you got these guys that like, oh, I won't run with the CB, there's too much negativity. Then they're spewing filth on Facebook. Or they're spewing filth on YouTube. And at this point, I just try to laugh at all of it. You know, if you sound like an idiot on the radio, I laugh. If you sound like an idiot on YouTube, I laugh. If you sound like an idiot on Facebook, I just laugh and then unfollow. Unsubscribe. You know, and yeah, CB radio was the original social media. That's how we communicated with each other. Jeff had some really good stories this morning about the old school trucking. It brought back a lot of memories. I wasn't a driver then, but my dad was an owner-operator back in those days, and I used to ride with him, and so I've seen a lot of the things that Jeff was talking about. I took my radio out of my truck. See, Russ, I still believe that the CB is a good tool. It has saved me many, many times, and recently at times. Now, depending on where you live. If I lived around Memphis, yeah, I probably wouldn't have it on. If I lived around Jersey, I probably wouldn't have it on. Jersey is about the only place where I will actually turn it all the way off. And that's a shame, because when you got traffic and, you know, especially if you're a flatbedder, you know, you want people to warn you if your chains are loose or if a strap's come off, you know, and you know, there are many times where a CB could save somebody. For example, there's a shipper receiver by my house, and their entrance is not the address that's in the GPS. And unless you Google map it, you're not going to see it, right? And there's been many times that I've been in my four-wheeler with the CB radio on, and I know the truck's making that mistake, and I get on the radio, hey driver so-and-so, are you looking for this shipper? And no answer. And there was one time where one guy did answer. I said, you need to get off, take a left there, and you're good to go. You don't want to go to the other road because that's a no truck route where the address is. And there's some pretty tight turns in that neighborhood. So I try to help drivers. There's been many times where I try to help drivers with the CB radio, and it just wasn't there. And if more people used them, you know, there'd be a lot more simplicity. But unfortunately, people abuse them as well. There was a guy around Harrisonville yesterday that was doing the Roger beep, just, you know, clicking the mic over and over to Roger beep, and I just wanted to go over there and strangle the dude, whoever it was. You know, Russ had talked about he took his radio out of his truck. You know, he got slammed into, he got his mirror taken out by another truck, and he got on the radio and tried to holler at the guy. Of course, the guy didn't answer. You know, maybe if he had the radio on, he would have known. You know, little situations like that. So I'm a firm believer that CB radio can be and still is a useful tool. And, you know, little Viking Coach, what's up? You know, and that's what the squelch button's for. You know, if there's a lot of chatter, you just turn it to where the squelch to the point that you can only hear the truck in front of you if they're talking, you know, or turn it down to like less than, you know, where you can, you know, you can still hear that there's something going on, but you don't hear it all. A lot of times if I'm on the phone, I'll turn it to that level if there's a lot of chatter. But if I see that, if I hear there's a lot of chatter and I'm not, you know, hearing what it's about, I'll turn it up and realize that, yeah, there's a wreck coming up or there's a backup coming up. That's why there was a lot of chatter all of a sudden. You know, I've had a lot of fun with the CB radio too. I've had a lot of good times just, you know, picking 3 people that you're running with, you know, and you use the radio. You know, I had a friend of mine that was at Schneider with me, and we used to do a lot of the same loads. We'd run together and we cut it up on the radio, and everybody would kind of join in, you know, and it was a good time. So, you know, the CB radio, the internet, everything, you know, it's if you see the good, it's good. If you see the bad, it's bad. And there's a time and place for everything. And like I said, the CB radio saved my butt up there in Pennsylvania. It saved my butt there in Maryland. So, you know, there was a time where I was out in the middle of nowhere, no phone signal, and I was lost. I couldn't find the shipper, and this grain hauler got on the radio. It was like, hey, you know, so-and-so, you looking for such and such? I said, yeah. He's like, yep, keep going, take a left, and you're there. So, you know, we still help each other. On the true old school, the true good drivers out here still help each other with the radio. So you just got to filter through the bad stuff, just like everything else on Facebook and YouTube and all that. Used to be a guy up by Battle Creek that would be annoying with the base station. Right, the base station, like there's one around St. Louis. You know, of course you got the annoying drug dealer / cops over there in Memphis. Jersey, it was just bad. Like I said, Jersey, I just turned it off. There's one out there in Indiana, does a base station. And, you know, and you can't tell them to go F themselves because your radio's not powerful enough for them to hear. So, Christian Trucker, what's up? Bandana, saw you sneak in here. So, you know, and that's when you turn it down to just slightly, barely audible level. And, you know, that way if something is coming up, you're going to hear the chatter start, or you're going to hear a different tone. And, you know, and one of the other annoying things about CB is that, like, if you go through Dallas, that truck wash over there by 20 and 45, that could be annoying. That they're doing an automated message every 2 minutes, which is illegal, by the way, to FCC rules. You're not allowed to advertise on the CB radio. Man, that's good coffee. Atlanta can be bad as well. Atlanta has a lot of people griping about people being in the middle lane. That's the deal with Atlanta. And then the other annoying part is when there's a backup. You're like, what's this backup for? You're in Atlanta. I mean, you could be at 3 in the morning and there'll be a backup in Atlanta. So, but trying to think the last time. Oh yeah, I was in Harrisonville on my way to Olathe last Thursday, and the CB radio saved me. I was heading south, or no, north. I just left the Sap Brothers, heading to Olathe, trying to get to 435, and a part of I-49 was shut down. Google's telling me it's shut down. It's telling me this weird way to get around. Well, you know, Google's not the most truck-friendly thing, right? So the truck Garmin was telling me to go a certain way, and it's been not that great here lately, so I didn't really 100% trust that. So this grain hauler who was on the radio, I hollered at him, and he's like, yeah, we're going to take this exit. There was 2 of them. I'm going to take this exit. You can follow us. So we were in CB communication the whole way, and we got around that backup, and I saved myself probably 20 minutes. That's what the CB's for. That's what it's for. And so for the people that don't use it for that, you know, shame on you. So it's just ironic that most of the people griping about people not running with their CBs on, it's because of people like themselves. So hey CT, did you make it around BR? Oh, Baton Rouge. Yeah, it was hazmat crash. Yeah, there was a pretty bad hazmat crash on I-70 in Missouri a couple of days ago. When they crash, there's no easy way out. It's like GW Bridge 24/7, right? There was another time where I was in Dallas, and Google had said that I-20 was shut down. A tornado, or not tornado, but a pretty heavy thunderstorm went through and took down the power lines. So part of the city was out of power, and I-20 was shut down because the power lines were along it, were like on top of it. And I got on the CB and said, yeah, it's easy to get around, you know. They told me, and boom, it was there, you know. And it was different from what Google was telling me, because, you know, again, Google's not truck routing. So Jonathan Wheeler, what's up? So seen a lot of truck and trailer fires lately. I think some of that might be because 'tis the season for blowouts. If you're not paying attention to your trailer tires and that you have a blowout, you could potentially start a fire. You know, this heat is really bad on recap, especially if you're running Southwest, Arizona, Texas, New Mexico, you know, in the desert out there, and recaps just do not like them. Alaskan Cowboy, what's up? So, anyways, I'm glad, you know, I hope my product review helps. Maybe someday I'll get sponsored. do a true product review like what Canal does. You know, Truck and Review channel, they had a couple of giveaways. You know, I think that's you know, it could be a good thing, but yeah, it's a good headset, man. I like it. And thanks to Brent in Florida, I know how to pair it to 2 phones. So I had to use that feature yesterday, because the broker with this load is kind of, they're very clingy. There are some brokers that are clingy. They want to know what you're doing every step of the way. And then you got the ones with macro point that they just like, they know what you're doing right then and there. And I'm really good about my check calls and emails and everything. And so when I get a lot of phone calls on top of the check calls I've already give you, it kind of annoys me. But, you know, what are you going to do? That's trucking. But yesterday I was on the phone with Harold and Roscoe and Big Rig CEO at some points, and the broker called me, and it was cool because I just, you know, you just treat it like call waiting. You answer the other phone, and then it switched back to the phone I was still on, so we were good. So I enjoy it. I like having that feature. Saw a beer truck go. Yeah. Now here's an interesting. Let's talk about beer for a second, okay? I've had many discussions with Harold, Rich, James Best, Christian Trucker about rates. And I've told everybody that rates are down right now because there's no demand for anything. It's when demand is created, that's what gives us the leverage. If something needs to be done or gotten, if there's a demand for it, then we can name our price. Now, let's look at two beer companies. You got Anheuser-Busch and you got Coors, Miller Coors, okay? Miller Coors tends to pay way, way less than Anheuser-Busch, okay? I don't haul any of it because we don't have a beer permit. And I was talking to Harold about that, and I was like, I don't know why. Why is that? He said, well, Anheuser-Busch is all about volume. There's more of a demand. They are winning the beer war, you know? If you put Budweiser versus Miller, you know, it's just like Coke versus Pepsi. You know, Budweiser's winning the whole way. So Coors has to do a lot more penny pinching because they're not creating the volume, because there's not as much demand for their brand than it is for the other. And that's where rates come in. Anheuser-Busch is willing to pay those rates because they need their product moved. They're all about volume. You know, for every, say, 100 cases of Budweiser that are ordered, you might get 10 cases of the other. You know, I don't know what the ratio really is, but that's a perfect example. The whole point of that is it's all about supply and demand. The spot market and even the contract market is all about supply and demand. You know, if you're a Schneider guy, look for the Frito-Lay loads starting to get hot and heavy starting from September because of football season. Both college and NFL, you know, that creates a lot of market for chips, soda, snacks, beer, all the things associated with that social activity. It's all about supply and demand. So the reason why rates are low right now, because no one's demanding anything. If there was a hurricane tomorrow and suddenly there's a huge demand for bottled water, guess what? It's name your price. And the FEMA loads pay really, really well because of the demand, you know. So it's all about supply and demand. Figure out what you can haul that's in high demand, and then you're going to be able to name your rate. I'm back. They screwed up. They were supposed to load me with 2 stops. They forgot the first stop, so now they have to unload it and reload it right. Glad I caught it. Jeez. Jordan Barber, what's up? I think I already said hi to you. Maybe not. So it's all about supply and demand. You know, if you're doing mulch loads in the spring, you're going to get a better rate than doing a mulch load in the winter. You know, no one's sending mulch in the winter. So there are some places, there's a shipper in Bolivar, Missouri that only ships between May and July, you know. Find out what's in demand and haul that product, and you'll be able to name your number. I got a deal hauling for Moeller, going back to Orlando and coming back for $3.12 a mile. I got lucky. Oops, Mopar. So obviously there's a demand for auto parts right now in that sector. Just like Amazon loads, you're going to be able to start riding that gravy chain pretty soon if you can find it. Things are going to be a little bit different in the Walmart world because Walmart's got a lot of that. You know, they're trying to compete with Amazon, where you can order anything you want, send it to a store, and you can pick it up at the store for free. And so that's going to change the dynamics a little bit with stuff that's going to the distribution centers, I believe. There's a lot of stuff on Walmart.com that you can't find in the stores at all. So, you know, you can find anything on Walmart.com pretty much. Anyways, enough of that crap. You guys don't want to hear about spot market and my philosophies of it. So, anything else you guys want to talk about? We talked about my beard. We talked about the headset. We've talked about up and down rates and supply and demand in CB radios. Auto parts pick up in winter, car crashes equals loads. Yeah, but they're also getting ready for the next year, you know, model. Yeah, little Viking coach, he's in here. I think I said hey to you. Yeah. So, that's, like I said, man, I'm making the delivery in the middle of nowhere, Arkansas today and tonight, actually, and I called the customer, made sure that my delivery number was correct for the correct time. So, you heard that Amazon is starting their own freight division. Will be hauling all their own freight. They won't be able to haul all of it, but I could see them turning into another FedEx or UPS, definitely. I mean, they've already got their own trailers, and they're hiring carriers like Landstar and other smaller carriers to run their trailers power only. And eventually, you know, when it comes to just managing trailers, that's not a big deal. But when it comes to managing trucks and doing all the FMCSA guidelines and all the regulations and what it takes to hire drivers, that's going to be their biggest challenge. So if that even happens, it's going to be a long time before it's taking the money out of pockets of small carriers or like Landstar Schneider drivers that are pulling the power only stuff. Archie says he enjoyed listening. My input has helped me a lot, Starler. Cool. I'm glad. It was funny. I had 3 thumbs down on my make a phone call video. It really kind of surprises me that I don't know, maybe it doesn't surprise me, but it's just kind of sad that, like, if you don't like something this channel's doing, then why do you watch it, you know? Or maybe you don't like every single video, which I don't expect everybody to do that, but it's just kind of, you know, it's just kind of weird to me, that's all. It's like I said at the end of the call, you know, like, you know, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you don't like it, then why are you watching? Like all the RVT crap, man, I just didn't watch. I watched a little bit of it, but it's just, you know, it's just, these people just don't realize that all they're doing is bringing traffic to the channel that they don't like, and to me that's funny. That entertains me. So they have their own planes. Well, that's probably, well, then trucking should be no problem. I know a guy who's a delivery man driver for UPS, and he said it will put a big hurt on them and FedEx and yeah, well, Amazon is the new Walmart, man. They could literally take over the world. Instead of working for money, we're gonna all work for Amazon credits, you know. There was an old 80s TV show, I think it was called Sliders. It was about this group of people that could go from dimension to dimension. Like, it was still the same year, but like in one dimension it was like dinosaurs ruled, and then there was another dimension where lawyers ruled the world. So you had to like fill out all this paperwork just to buy a hamburger. They had one where like everything was futuristic, but there were still like weird mythical creatures, and you know, but there was one where this one corporation owned everything, and you didn't work for money, you worked for credits, and you know, you paid how you lived, like eat, house, utilities, and all that by credits. I thought, you know, that's kind of a what do they call it, dystopian, like maybe outlook, you know, kind of like Fahrenheit 451. So Amazon is bigger than Walmart, right? So yeah, they could take over the world. The new Bitcoin. Guys, I don't even know what Bitcoin is. I hear Orion talking about it all the time on Facebook, and I have no idea what Bitcoin is. Yeah, I've got a couple of friends that are very convinced that the U.S. economy is going to collapse within the next few years, but they've been kind of saying that for a while. There's really not much you can do about it. You just gotta learn to roll with the punches, I guess. Jonathan Wheeler, I should leave this up. I did a live feed yesterday morning, and it never showed bad connection on my phone at all. And then when I went to watch the replay, it kept skipping, like when the signal lets out. So I went ahead and took that out. A lot of times I take videos down because maybe I said something I shouldn't have, or I really don't, I don't know, I don't like some of the things that I said myself, or like, wow, I sound like an idiot right there. So I'm my own worst critic. So, but that one was truly just a technical thing. The one yesterday, I just made it private. You guys with the newer YouTube channels, if you have a video that you've done a live feed or you've uploaded and you don't like the results of it, or if let's say you get 1,000 views on it, but then you want to get rid of it, don't delete the video, just make it private. That way you don't lose your analytics, because it's the analytics and the algorithms that's what makes your channel successful. It has nothing to do with your content. It's all about algorithms and the analytics, and that's what determines how much money you can make on the monetization side. So let's say if someone gives me $100 super chat and I get 1,000 views off this video, if I delete it, I won't lose the super chat, but I will lose everything else. So if I make it private, it's like the video still exists, it just no one else can see it after that. So yeah, see, no one was telling me my signal was bad yesterday. So I was sitting there doing a live feed, and everybody was getting Circle of Death having to refresh. See, I didn't realize it was doing that. Here in Fort Smith, heading to Chicago. Right now, Jonathan, I'm in Joplin. I'll be heading to Clarksville. So I'll be going down 40. So it probably won't cross paths. You stay with me through the buffering. Thought it was me. See, like I said, most of the time if you're doing a live feed, it'll say bad connection. It'll turn red, and then when I get the Circle of Death during the live feed, then that means that no one's getting anything. So I wasn't getting any of that. So I had no idea that my live feed was doing that. And I did kind of wonder why my count was kind of low, because normally I get about 35, 40 people in my live feeds, and yesterday I only had like 10, 15. That's because everybody was like giving up on me. Like, man, Steve needs a new phone service. So the other little tip is, if you're having to refresh a lot, put the video quality down to 360. That usually helps a little bit with the buffering. Oh, you'll be heading up 49? Well, maybe we'll cross paths. I don't plan on leaving here until about noon or so. The alternative was watch your boss. Yeah, Jeff went live. I want to say James maybe went live yesterday too. Jeff was doing his big impression of Roscoe this morning. He was going off on all these old trucker stories and the whole 9 yards. I'll be right back. problem with these carriers is that when it gets super warm in the truck, you can't have the AC on low. It will not keep up and it'll trip the breaker. So I had to turn up the AC. It's getting warm in this truck. And I didn't want to sit here with the windows open because everybody's idling. And there's someone threw their poop bag right down there. So the smell of that is permeating the area. Nasty mofos. So anyways, we're gonna wrap this up at an hour. So if you guys want something to talk about, speak now or forever hold your peace. Going once, going twice. Who's all gonna be at GATS? Raise your hand if you're gonna be at GATS. No one? Either that or I'm buffering again, I don't realize it. Are we done with this video? Where did I get that mug? This one? Walmart. See the symbol? It's an Ozark Mountain Trail. Got it for $10. Which is funny because Joplin, they sell these and you can put your logo, company logo or whatever you want on these, right? And all it is, and they're charging like $40-50 for those things. It's like you take a $10 mug and take a $5 label and put it on it. That's all they're doing. Hill Rider's going to be there. Joshua's going to be there with Logan. Awesome. Man, Logan's going to love it, dude, because you get so much free stuff there, Josh. So much free stuff. You know, Uber hands you this bag, you know, or whatever company. Usually it's either Uber or Progressive Insurance. And then it's like what they call truck or treat. You know, you literally get free hats, pens, paper, these little truck shaped mint things. Some places hand out t-shirts. I have I acquired about 8 hats last year. And a box full of pens. You know, I think Jeff's gonna have pens there. But yeah, Logan's gonna love it. Troy, you're gonna be going through Monday. And Googled it for free. Compressor took it down, coils. Swag, yeah. Yeah, Pale Rider's usually giving away swag too. Big Rig CEO is going fishing on Lake Michigan. Wow, that kind of rhymes. The hard life of a CEO. Yep, yeah, Big Rig CEO, man. He's the one that my wife should beat up for me becoming an owner operator. He's the one that planted the seed from me going hell no to that might be cool. So, but yeah, he's gonna go do all that fancy fishing in Lake Michigan. Fishing in Michigan. But we're gonna meet up with Harold and Roscoe, and you know, Jeff and Gear Grabber will be there, so Light Truck will be representing. Now we're not gonna be all fancy with one of our trucks in the inner thing, the pavilion or anything like that, but we'll be there representing. We have no swag to give away except Jeff has a few pens. I would like to, but me and company don't really have much of a choice unless I were there to take home time there. I hear you, Jonathan, I hear you. Heath, you're gonna make it. So we got So that puts Jeff, Gear Grabber, the execs of the company, and then you got the four of us drivers going over there. So that's cool, Heath. When are you going to be there? You might be able to park with us. It took years of convincing. Yeah, you're right. You're right. But it really wasn't my idea. It was my wife's idea. She told me to do it. The Hool, what's up? My battery is about to die. See if we can make it the next 8 minutes. CEO Salmon. Oh, you're talking to James there. Thursday night. Cool, cool. Eight-hour charter. Isn't that kind of nice, James, that you're going to go do that? You don't have to tell anybody anything as far as like you don't have to tell your company to give you home time. You don't have to tell your dispatcher. You know, as long as your truck's paid for, you're good to go. That's the freedom of working for a company that's self-dispatch. Chad Boblet did an article about, he had some tips on the DAT board blog about how to utilize, if you're working the spot market, how to get it to where you're getting a lot of home time, because he pretty much spends only 30 nights out of the year because he's running mainly local. The Hool is contemplating whiskey. Man, if you're tired, why would you drink whiskey, man? Anytime I've ever drank whiskey, man, I wanted to go to bed. Rub, I just turned stupid and annoying. And then go to bed. So, I don't do that. I don't do that anymore. That's pretty much the goal, man, is you want to balance home time and money. You know, you don't want to make so much money that you're never home and you don't enjoy it. But you don't want to, like, spend too much time at home and not make any money. You know, there's a balance that you got to find there. So, you know, that's what owner-operators are challenged with. You got high truck costs, fuel costs, insurance, and then you got to work off the rates that you're given, depending on what company you're with, or whether you're in the spot market. You got all those challenges in and of itself. And then, if you got a family, if you have a social life or other hobbies, that home time becomes important. And you got to try to, like, find that balance between, you know, getting all three. It's like a big circle. It's like a big pie, you know. And you want to have family, you want to have a career, and you want to have personal. You want to have money, you know. So it's a balance. It's a constant struggle and balance to get that, you know. If my expenses were $2,500 a week, they're like some of these guys and some of these companies are paying, man, I don't think that I would never get home, you know, and then my home life would suffer, you know. Marriages suffer under those kind of conditions. You know, that is the eternal struggle that we all have, and it takes a while to figure out how to balance that all out. When I was a company driver, I made sure I went with a company that didn't have a mandatory 20 days out or anything like that, and the company I was with, I was never out more than 3 weeks at a time, and that third week was on my own. Like, I volunteered to do that. They were really good about getting me home every other weekend. Now, sometimes it was only a 34, but at least I went through the, you know. And then there's a lot of times where I went through the house simply because of location, you know. They say the alcohol brings out the real you. Yep, it does. Roy Merritt, what's up? So yeah, when I say rum makes me stupid and annoying, there you go. That's the real me. I am stupid and annoying. And you don't need rum to see that, right? That's why you get the thumbs down. So I tell people to give me thumbs down twice if you really don't like it. I think the guy just dumped this pea jar right next to me. Gotta love it. Gotta love it. Tracy Baker, hope to meet you. Gats, love some metal music too. I will try to have some CDs with me, Tracy. I did last year. I think I gave them out to 3 people. So I was like holding these CDs for like 10 CDs forever. But I'll check the compartment up here if I have any left. Because I know Jeff's been bugging me for a CD for a while. And if I don't have any up here, I'll see if I got any left at home. If I don't have any left at home, they're done. I mean, they're out of print. So, but you can find the music online too. Just go to bandcamp.com, type in Apnea 1, and there we are. So, I appreciate that, Adam. You haven't seen me drunk on rum before though, Adam, so, you know, just saying. Talented is not the term I would use. But anyways, guys, we're gonna end this video. We're quite at an hour, almost at an hour. My phone's about to say, you know what, you're done. What time are you guys getting there? I deliver 0900 Mesquite on Thursday. Probably about that time, Joshua. We're gonna hit the parking lot Thursday morning. Seasick Steve is another talented Steve. I don't get seasick. The driver probably saw LVC's Thor video and thought it was just as good if found out otherwise. Pappy Whamma Jamma. I love seeing you in my live feeds, man. I miss your periscopes. I miss the good old periscope days when we were all on there cutting up, you know? I miss those days. So the Bronco, the parking lot, not at the pavilion, but the other one. So, all right, Bandana, take it easy. His stage name, he's on YouTube. Oh, okay. All right, man. Guys, take it easy. Thanks for watching. Hit the thumbs up if you liked it. If you hated it, then why are you watching? And, you know, subscribe, hit the bell if this is your first time here. And, hey, I think we'll actually keep this video up. So, keep the wheels down, as James has said. Big Rig CEO. Check out this channel. And, guys, take it easy. See ya.